And we are back. Rush to Reason, Denver's Afternoon Rush, KLZ 560. David Stryzewski joining us now, Sound Planning Group. David, welcome back. How are you, sir?
Hey, great to be with you, John. Thanks
always. Okay, Bitcoin, big in the news. I've even watched, I've had a little bit of Bitcoin over the years, watch it go up and down and up and down, and I've watched it travel upwards of late. Give us the scoop on what's happening.
Well, I think I could just announce here, welcome to the beginning of the crypto and precious metals bull market.
Okay.
As we're looking at Bitcoin here today, it hit 68,600. That's just $400 from its all-time high back in November of 21.
Right.
Obviously, this is attributed right now to the fact that we've got this ETF investment that is just kind of going gangbusters. We're essentially buying 2 Bitcoin for every one that can be mined. So basic supply and demand factors will tell us that that's going to cause a price to go much higher. But they've also got a lot more first-time drivers.
And on the same token, I read, and this is what I wanted to check with you because I did a little research, watched a few things over the weekend. It's also going to be halving soon. In other words, half, H-A-L-F. It's going to be halved soon. Explain.
Yes, sir. So essentially April 20th coming up here, they reduced the amount of Bitcoin that can be mined daily by half.
Okay.
And so we're currently at 900 per day. That's going to go down to 450. And as I just noted a moment ago, we're already purchasing double what is actually being mined.
Yeah, so we're purchasing 1,800 roughly a day now. They have it where that's going to go down to 450. If that same 1,800 is still there and or goes up, it even makes it worse, right? Worse and or better. I don't whichever you want to look at it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just going to cost supply and demand to bring the value higher. There's only 21 million possible Bitcoins. So unlike U.S. dollars, as an example, that we can just print indefinitely, there are only so many. And it's important to note, John, that if you lose your keys, you lose your crypto. This is something that we've kind of not really heard as a headline theme.
Correct.
But there are a lot of people, specifically even this guy Satoshi Nakamoto who invented Bitcoin. He mined the first 1 million. And here's the thing. We can actually see every single Bitcoin that's ever been mined. Those have not been transacting for over 10 years. And so it's believed that this guy actually had died. And again, if you lose your keys, you lose your crypto. I think there are millions of Bitcoin that have been lost forever.
I agree.
Coming back.
Yeah, and for everybody listening, think about it this way, and David, where I'm probably going with this. Even a partial coin. So let's just say that, you've got one partial coin that at its high was almost $70,000, but let's say that it took 70,000 people owning $1 each, which people could have done. They could have bought partials, if you would. So let's just say that 70,000 people, and the number's probably much lower, but let's say each one of them, because they just lost track, they bought it to kind of fiddle around with it, and they kind of forgot about it and forgot the wallet and the key and so on. That thing just sort of sits out there now. That's a question I've got for you. Let's use that scenario. What happens to those?
Well, those Bitcoin exist. They're real estate in math, essentially. But yeah, no, they're gone.
They'll never be used, right? Because you can't access them.
That's correct.
So you just limit. In other words, you shrunk the supply, right?
Yes, that's accurate. Now, each Bitcoin breaks down to 100 million individual pieces. So
okay.
To your point here of 70,000 people putting in $1, they would get more than like a one fraction because it's 100 million pieces.
Right.
But
still, it's a fraction of a coin that they own, right?
That's right.
Okay.
And that's where the argument goes that we could buy groceries with 1 Bitcoin, even though a Bitcoin could be worth 70,000, 100,000 someday. Is because of the breakdown into the minor pieces. Okay. I don't think it's actually the answer to all of life's problems, so let me just be very clear.
Thank you. You and I are in total agreement on that one. I would agree with you on that. Is it a portion of maybe some of the fixes? Possibly. Mm-hmm. Is it the ultimate fix? No, I'm not that guy either, David.
Yeah, I think it's going to be positive. I think that just like gold and silver, okay, which, by the way, have outlasted empires rising and falling, I think that's really the gold standard, quote unquote. I think Bitcoin is a new player to that world, but ultimately the cryptographic technology and blockchain technology that decentralizes things and makes things more difficult or challenging for bad guys to steal.
Right.
I think that is exceptional technology. And so a lot of the altcoins today, I look at as basically buying algorithms of the financial practices and matters of the future. So there's a lot of really great opportunities.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. And I've interviewed some guys that are trying to take that same blockchain technology and apply it to car titles, house deeds, things along those lines. So I think the technology itself, David, will incorporate into other things that will become very needed, if you would. In fact, they're needed today in a lot of areas. The things I just mentioned, by the way, they're definitely needed in. So I see the technology getting applied to other places. Would I personally put all of my money in Bitcoin? No. In fact, I would tell personally, and I'm not a financial advisor like you are, but I would tell people to be cautious and probably only do what you think you can. If it all went south tomorrow and you lost it, are you going to be out anything, is the way I would look at it.
Yeah, I love this idea. So number one, as a financial advisor, they don't want me talking about it. So I'm not providing financial advice here today.
Gotcha.
Okay. Now, with that being said, if I was providing a thought or an idea, one of the best that I've heard was whatever you would spend on a nice weekend getaway with your spouse, maybe for an anniversary or something, whatever that amount is for everybody is going to be a little bit different based upon how much money you make, et cetera.
Right.
But if you were going to allocate just one nice weekend away into the crypto and Bitcoin space, you either, worst case scenario, lost one weekend with your spouse that you didn't get to have necessarily, but you'd probably go to dinner, do something nice. But otherwise, if this ends up really growing and really becoming what it could become, well, then it might have actually just made your financial future. And so I don't think put nothing in it. I just
it's interesting you say that, because years ago, and I've kind of dabbled with it, and initially, I don't know, I bought a couple of $250 chunks years ago, and I then bought another couple $250 chunks some years after. I haven't bought any now probably since before COVID, David, but I own, I don't know, my value today, because it's gone up, of course. I think at one time I owned about $2,000 invested, and today it's up to like $2,600, $2,700. I'm being very open with everybody because I didn't buy that all in one chunk. I did exactly what you just said, and over time just bought a little, and mainly just to kind of see what it would do. I still have my key, my wallet, all of that. I understand that whole bit very well. And, again, where is this going to go, David? I now kind of wish that when things were really low just a few months ago, I'd have bought maybe another $1,000 or so, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's what everyone says. And in fact, I get asked a lot of questions right now. It's like, hey, well, it's so high, or some of these things are moving up. Even the stock market, how do I buy in? Well, dollar cost averaging is the best way to get in. So just like you said, hey, I put a couple of chunks down at various time frames, and I got a better average price. So I didn't just put it all in at one moment, which could have been high, could have been low. You get a better average. And so how I personally do it is I buy in on the daily. In fact, I'm actually not really buying in right now. I've been allocating for a couple of years very significantly. And so now I'm just sort of like riding things up, trimming positions that really get running, feeding some other positions I think that are really about to start moving. And so, those are a couple of things that I do personally. But I like your thinking with this. And again, I think it's something that people should, want to have just a little bit of at minimum. But I don't think that they're really going to be buying, groceries at Costco, tomorrow with it. We're a little ways out on that.
I agree with that.
Gold and silver, by the way, are poised to be popping right now, and people should be looking into that as well.
Well, I think if you look at what the economy's doing, no matter what the Fed does, I would agree with you on that. Again, would I go out and put all of my money into that? No, but I think to be wise and to look to the future and have some things diversified, absolutely you should look at all these different things.
Absolutely. One of the things I'll just note here real quick, and I've been talking about this one for a little while now, and I've been on all the big shows talking about this and saying you should look at gold and silver. John, I think we finally have arrived at the place and time where we're really going to see this next evolution here manifest. And so again, Bitcoin's at a record high or near it, and gold literally just set a record today. It's above 2,100. Wow. And what's interesting to note about gold and silver is this. I'm just going to give you my quickest talking point, which is if you look at the ratio of gold and silver, when the gold standard was established, it was 14-1, 14 gold for every 1 silver. That's how much we could produce, 14 ounces of silver for every 1 ounce of gold. Okay. Today, we actually produce 9-1, 9 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold. But the ratio, John, this morning was 90-1.
Wow.
trade me 1 ounce of gold for 90 individual ounces of silver. I just got to tell you, I will do that deal every day of my life.
Yeah.
And so I believe that silver is probably the most undervalued commodity in the world right now. And I believe that we are about to see
because if times really get tough, there's some sort of a end of the world scenario, and I hope that doesn't happen. But I have a prepper show that I have on Fridays from 2 to 3 where we talk a lot about this, and I even bring guests on. In fact, I should get you on at some point. We can just talk about those things specifically because that'd be a good topic. But bottom line, when it comes to that and buying and selling in that scenario, while a gold piece would be really nice, those handy full silver pieces that you're talking about would be even handier.
Absolutely. You want the smaller denomination.
That's right.
You're not going to go and, let's just say gold gets up to 5,000. How do you go and make change?
You don't.
Okay? You're not going to accept it.
You don't.
You're going to take it. Yeah, exactly.
And especially when, if that happens, that even gets to be worth not 5, but 10.
Yes.
Because in the scenario I just gave, it just doubled, by the way, as you know. Now, I'll reach out. We'll do that. We'll have you on Ready Radio. It's what we call it. We do it from 2 to 3. It's separate. It's separate from what I do here daily. It's my own program, and we do different things there. And, it'd be fun to have you on, and we could talk about some of those things, because those are things that not everybody really thinks about. And in that scenario, I hate to say this, David, but when everything electronically is gone, Bitcoin's not going to do you anything.
Right. No, and that's very true. If we had one of these massive EMPs, which is certainly a risk, at least that's what the government tells us. And,
it is.
It's not really known. Then we would lose it, and man, you would really revert back to the physical stuff if that's the case.
Yeah, you would. That's right.
Again, I think that having some in gold and silver can be intelligent. I prefer silver over gold, as you heard my rationale for that.
I agree.
But
before we close, what would you stay away from right now?
A couple of things that I'd really stay away from is having so much heavy in technology stocks.
Okay.
I think that we're finding ourselves in kind of a position that may be similar to the .com of the early 2000s. Yeah, the .bomb. I mean, hey, I love the technology, but we're speculating on some level.
True.
NVIDIA is a wonderful organization. They're doing incredible stuff. They were the first mover. That's why they're so big. They hit, 10 trillion.
Yep.
But here's the long story short. If Taiwan gets invaded by China, 100% of NVIDIA's chips are made on Taiwan Semiconductor. How's that going to work out? Oh, by the way, Microsoft's been rallying based upon AI. Oh, by the way, everyone's rallying based on AI.
Right.
So if we have one of those hiccups, and by the way, Xi Jinping told us he's going to do it.
True. In 2027, that's what he said. Or 2025. Sorry, 2025. He said he would do that.
So we're a year out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how close do you want to?
Isn't it interesting? He's waiting till the election's over.
Golly, it would seem like he would do that just because I think that he likes the weakness of the current administration. But
and depending upon how that would go in November, he could always backtrack and say, no, we're not going to do that now. My gut feeling is he's waiting to see who's still there.
Yeah, and I have a gut feeling that it's not going to be Biden still there.
I agree.
That's a scary reality if we think Kamala Harris is going to be running the free world.
Won't be it either.
That's the only thing that would cause me to think that they would potentially do it sooner than 25 is if we found ourselves in a place of weakness like that. So anyway, that's speculation, but the point is that it's at least declared as such, and it's likely going to be coming. So. I'd say a little bit out of the technology stocks, although we definitely have allocations in them. We're doing really great. I love making money with those things, but
be careful.
You're gonna be very, very careful. And I'll just say this as well: the safe part of your portfolio being bonds, quote unquote. I believe that there are massive time bombs here. There's 5 different ways that bonds lose money. I've got this written in a new book that I'm publishing right now called "Riding Bulls and Taming Bears." I'm about 30 days out from actually publishing. And investing for retirement in the 21st century. So the issue is, where do we go when the safe places to put our money are actually a place that could have significant losses, as in permanent, you get nothing back losses, as an example, with a default. And so I don't think that's safe enough. I think that many people are going to be let down based upon traditional allocations to portfolios that, they frankly didn't have it right in the year 2008.
Okay.
I don't think that they're going to have it right again. I think a lot of people are going to lose money doing the buy and hold, park and pray, hope everything will be okay model.
Got it. What's the best way to find? I know you got a website talking about the Fed. What's the best way to folks find you?
Yeah. So fedbubble.com is probably the best place to connect right now. That's where we're going to be talking about what's going on right now at the Federal Reserve. They're late to the party, big challenges.
Yep.
We got bubbles that are amongst us.
Agree.
I got 5 questions I'd like to ask people as they're approaching or entering retirement. And if they can say yes to all of them, they're in great shape. If they can't say yes to all of them, they might ask the question, do they think that they want these questions answered? Anyway, so fedbubble.com, or people can call my office directly at 425-821-9442.
David, as always, I appreciate you, sir. Have a good one.
All right. Appreciate you, John.
You betcha.
Take care.
David Stryzewski, Sound Planning Group, fedbubble.com.